Hello, everybody. I've had a change in my medication, so my voice sounds a little different, but that's about it. Okay, Mike, if you'll start us off with a mandala, please.
다시 거기 육신 메타스tra Vira Lingshi and Day and Pa Sangye Shingdu Mekte Uwa Jokun Nanda Shingwa Drupa So Idam Guru Ratnamandalatam Niryatayam.
I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving them the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, I will reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Okay, let's start with rejoicing. Svetlana, you're first on my screen for rejoicing.
Oh, I would like to rejoice that there are less critical thoughts in my mind. Like previously, I was more dissatisfied with other people, and it was like criticism in my mind. But now I'm trying to stop this stream of thoughts, maybe to switch my focus. And today, like I was sitting among people to finish the tasks, despite all those like slight irritation. So I'm trying to calm down, and I would like to rejoice in my efforts in managing those thoughts of criticism and dedicated that it will lead to more peaceful mind.
Excellent. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion, but what we try and do is state your opinion and let it go. When I was on the board of directors of Diamond Mountain Retreat Center, when I first got on the board, I'd make my point and I'd try and convince others of it. And I've soon realized that the most effective thing I could do was simply state my opinion, answer any questions about my opinion, but not try and convince people that I was right. So that's a big step, because you're right, Svetlana. That's how you're going to stop the acrimony and discord in your life, is if you don't argue with people. So very good. That's a good example of putting what we're teaching into practice. Okay, Daria, what do you have to rejoice about?
Good morning. I rejoice. I try to stop my noise. I love noise. I love noise. Yeah.
I'm not following.
And I love whimper, I think. When I always say, oh, I'm doing not good, I'm bad, and I can't do this, and I try stopped, and I'm rejoiced. Uh, I have more time stopped this.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following, but okay. Let's move on to the next one. Layla,
Good morning.
good morning.
Today I rejoice in potential. I make music and I tend to use music to find those challenging moments, the things that are challenging for me, and I basically can create whatever I can with it, and it comes true. It becomes like my new reality, my new just the, it's a it's a proof of emptiness as well. But I rejoice in the fact that I have this medium to help me in my learnings, and the potential, just the actual potential, the fact that anything can be transformed. Just that concept, that knowing is something I'm just so grateful about it, and I dedicate it to future learnings of everyone, to know that the suffering doesn't have to be that way.
Your music it's a nice metaphor for emptiness, because your music, the potential of your music to heal and to make someone feel good or enjoy it, that's powerful. And on the other side, you need to be able to understand that your music someone may not like your music and not take offense at that. And I'm not saying you take offense of it, but I'm saying is when you're creating, it's awfully easy to get lost in the creation and not remember that it's empty of being something that everybody's going to like or everybody's not going to like. So it's a good metaphor for how to conduct your life. What kind of music is it electronic? Do you play an instrument?
I play instruments, but right now it's electronic because I'm traveling so much. So
Yeah.
I'm using keyboards, the actual computer keyboard, to create notes for different instruments. So it is different instruments, but it's produced electronically.
Wow. Well, if you could send me one of a clip or two of your music, I'd be curious to listen to it. Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll send one in the Telegram.
Okay. I'm not on Telegram, so you
Oh.
have to send it to.
Okay. Maybe Svetlana could help me.
Yeah. Send it to her.
Thanks, Svetlana.
I have successfully stayed off of all social media, and I intend to maintain that. I'm an old fuddy-dud. If you want to get a hold of me, email me or send me a text. Okay, Mike, you're up.
Hey, good morning. So a couple weeks ago, I rejoiced over the fact that I had this amazing new landlord, and all of these things in my house were getting everything. It was just a perfect situation, and I'm so happy. And, and we talk about mixed karmas. So the landlord hired a new property manager,
Uh-oh.
and I don't like this person for some reason. They just like ruffle my feathers, you know? And they keep referring to like my home as the property, and they keep on like writing me emails with like my house referred to as the property. And it's just like they sent me this like 20-page lease with all these weird rules and stuff. And you know, it's really reminiscent of the last thing that got me feeling this way. And I noticed now that like when these feelings of like anger and frustration and like, I mean, like blind rage, like that, this kind of stuff is, you know, it puts me from like 0 to 10 in about 5 seconds, you know.
No.
And it's something that I'm really noticing, that when I'm going into that anger response and into that, like I want to fight with this person in my mind. Like I want to make up this fake scenario where like I confront them, or you know, they show up and we have this argument, and then I wind up right, and I, you know, come out on top, and you know, prove that I'm the better person, or like whatever it is. But I'm noticing through these practices that uh instead of me getting lost in that emotion and kind of like falling down the rabbit hole, I'm able to notice it and catch it, and you know, at least somewhat pull myself out of it instead of just losing myself in you know, unconsciousness. So I just want to celebrate that. It's not like the emotions aren't comfortable. Like it sucks to experience it, but you know, it's nice to have a brake pedal at least. So thanks.
Well, just remind me not to get you mad at me.
That would be the worst karma, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that would be pretty bad karma, but it's interesting that you it went from good. That's the suffering of change. It went from, oh boy, a new landlord, new everything. This is great, and now it's not so great. So it's the suffering of suffering, pain, the suffering of change, and then pervasive suffering. So now I hope it doesn't turn into pervasive suffering. But I think, Mike, in this case, in my situation like that, now with what I know, I try and put myself in the other person's shoes and see how I would respond to you if you're mad, if you get upset. So that cages how I respond, because I know I wouldn't want someone getting mad and sending me neutron. I call them neutron emails. Those emails that you really want to write, but you shouldn't send. So hang in there and realize that every time it's movement of the mind, karma's movement of the mind. So every time you get mad at this guy or gal, you're setting the seeds to have anger in your future. So hang in there. Okay. Olga, you're up next.
Hello. I rejoice having this course, like having the opportunity to study this course in particular, because it's been very practical and I love it, the way how practical it is. So thank you, Venerable Sumati, and thank you all.
No, you're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, Anastasia.
Всем добрый день. Мне необходим перевод, если это возможно. Спасибо большое. Я рада всех приветствовать. Спасибо большое за занятие. Я присоединяюсь по возможности, когда у меня получается. И я хотела бы порадоваться тому, что в эти выходные у меня получилось съездить к маме и провести с ней время. Просто
I'm not getting that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, I'm very glad to be here today with you at this course. I can only join when I can. I can't join all the classes, but I'm happy today I'm here. And I rejoice on the fact that this weekend I could visit my mother and spend time with my mother.
Good. Well, good. Yeah, spending quality time with a powerful
Ну, что я очень
conversation.
порадовалась, что именно как-то мы с ней спокойно, радостно и весело провели время, и у меня была возможность ей помочь и пообщаться с ней, и даже просто выслушать ее.
I rejoice on the fact that I could communicate with my mother, listen to her, and help her with something.
Good. Your parents are powerful karmic objects. So by helping her as she gets older, you're setting the seeds to have the help you need when you get older. And the fact that I'm getting older makes all this very real to me, except I don't have any kids. So, but good. Well, I'm glad you had a good visit with her. Okay, who's next in my line? Cornelia.
So thank you, Venerable Sumati. Today I went shopping for the family, healthy food. So in the future I planned health and time.
Okay. I'm trying to find who hasn't. Let's see who's. Oh, Katerina. Katrina, do you have anything to rejoice about? No, apparently she's not there. And I think this is Tatiana.
Добрый вечер. Я еще раз прошу прощения, что без камеры. И хочу сказать, что очень долго думала, чем поделиться сегодня, какой радостью. Мне было очень сложно придумать. Это мое слабое место, радость. Я придумала, вспомнила, вернее, что мою кандидатуру одобрили в чате ассистентов, кураторов. И 22 апреля должен начаться курс, в котором я буду, это будет моя премьера, скажем так. Но я сначала помощником, ассистентом куратора. Я не быстро говорю. И я сегодня думала, что не смогу быть на встрече, но когда я пришла и услышала первые несколько... У меня был вопрос к Ладме Сумати, но когда я зашла, у меня такая радость появилась. Я тут же получила ответы на несколько своих вопросов. И это для меня еще более радостно. В общем, я благодарю за практику. Да. Спасибо.
Hello. I will try to translate everything. For Tatiana, it was difficult to think what she was going to share with you about rejoicing, because for her, this is a weak point, a joy. And the first thing that she mentioned was that she, as a candidate, she was admitted to be to help the assistant in a special chat for the course. I don't know the name of the course, and she's very happy about this, that she will help the assistants in the chat for the course. And the second thing she's rejoicing about, Tatiana had some questions before the lesson with you. She entered the call, and she received the answers for her questions without asking you, and she is rejoicing on this fact more than on the first fact.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I was able to answer your questions. I have of one more person, and I don't know her name. You've got your hand up. What is your name?
Алена.
Say again.
Алена Макуха. Можете сказать?
Всем добрый вечер. Дорогой Лама, я очень рада, что я попала на ваш курс. И сегодня я хочу поделиться со всеми с вами радостью. Некоторые девочки уже знают об этом. У меня появилась возможность обучать в московском долголетии, то есть это пенсионеры. У меня появилась возможность безвозмездно обучать их своему мастерству, то бишь передавать мастерство и обучение шитью. То есть это будут интересные занятия и полезные навыки для людей, которые уже вышли на пенсию. Вот. Сегодня у меня организовался клуб «Алмазная игла».
I'm very glad that I joined this course, Venerable Sumati, and I'm rejoicing on the fact that I organized a special club for retired people, old people, retired, and I will teach them how to sewing practices, to sew with a needle, sew with a needle, with a needle, and my club is called the Diamond Needle, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm rejoicing on this fact.
Oh, good.
That I will teach without being paid and help the retired people.
Oh, good. So, yeah, sewing, SEW is why we pronounce that as sewing. I have no idea. It should be suing, but that's another story. Okay, I think I covered everybody. What do I have to rejoice in? I got my manuscript back from the publisher, and I was able to go through and look at all the corrections that the editor wanted, and agreed with most all of them. And at one point, there's a table in my manuscript that it took me several days to figure out the numbers. And I knew I'd put the information somewhere, but I couldn't find it. She wanted me to reference the table. So I was able to locate the material and put that into the manuscript and got it back to him quickly. So I'm setting the conditions to when I need something done, by doing this quickly and efficiently for them, I'm setting the conditions for that to happen for me when I need something. So That's what I rejoice in. I think, did we have Katerina, did you want to do a rejoicing? No?
Yes, I would like. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I rejoice that I have that wisdom in my life, especially in hard days when I have mental afflictions, like yesterday. Because when we think that other people they are self-existent and that was that happens, it's very sad. But now I know that I can change all, but I need time and wisdom.
I think the beauty of karma and emptiness is the potential for doing so much in our life. I rejoice, and well, as I've said more than once, I don't know how I would have handled getting Parkinson's and all the trouble it's caused me if I didn't have the Dharma to understand that it's nobody's fault but my own. And the way to solve this problem in my future lives is to not inconvenience others. That's just so powerful. I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like to not have this knowledge of karma and emptiness, and have this problem. So, okay. So today's class, oh, I forgot. I have to ask a quiz question. Okay. I'll just let whoever wants to answer. Who can give me the 8 points of the 7 point and the extra point of the posture of Varochana?
There's the legs in the lotus, full lotus or half lotus. If you get that, 1 and 2 is the eyes, either loosely focused around plane or tip of the nose, or not fully closed, but you prefer eyes closed, and and 3, the straight body, vertical plane, and the shoulders, 4 is shoulders leveled, and 5 is head leveled. The 6 is the teeth and lips, natural position, and then the 7th is the tongue at the natural position as well, or in the top area to help prevent more excessive salivation. And that's 7, which is the 7 point. The 8 one is the breath, is through the nose, if possible, and the 7th one is just without the last one, without the breath.
Very good, very good. So what I'd like to do before we get into the rest of class is I'd like to do the little breath meditation. So get comfortable and let's go through the 7 preliminaries. This would only be for 5 minutes, so. Okay. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. You see your Lama in front of you at eye level, about a full prostration away. See them as fully 3-dimensional, not a tonka or a photograph, but this could be your mom, your dad, someone you respect, a good friend, His Holiness. And you make your 3 mental prostrations to them. Then you make an offering, a powerful, good offering is to offer your practice. Now you do a confession. You think of something you've done that broke a vow or you're not particularly proud of. Play it back in your mind. Resolve that you'll try not to do it again. Now rejoice. Something good you did. Then ask your teachers to stay. And to teach. And dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. Now I'd like you to start breathing. I'm going to start a stopwatch. I'm going to count my breaths, and I'll tell you how many I did after 5 minutes. So try and count your breath, because I'm trying to find out to let you know how fast you're breathing. Don't hold your breath, but breathe nice and slowly and evenly. Have the out breath be the same length as the in breath. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes. Okay. I had 40. How do you do?
У меня 30.
I have 30, said something. Oh, somebody.
30 in 5 minutes. Very good. The normal respiration is about 12 per minute. So if you can slow your breathing down, that's a very good part of your practice. Yeah, losing count's always a problem. Okay. What I do when I meditate is I have a timer and I can set it for a minute or 2 minutes. And what I do at the beginning is to calm myself down for meditation, I count my breath and then it dings and I see how my breathing was. It's a nice practice to get your breath to where it's nice and relaxed. And it's very important not to hold your breath. So if you're trying to get down from 12 per minute, just breathe in and out more slowly. You'll find you can get down to 8 or 9 pretty quickly. Much less than that was a struggle for me in 3 retreat. Sometimes I could do 4 breaths, but that was rare. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the mental techniques. There are 5 problems and 8 corrections to these problems that Lord Buddha taught in 550 BC. So even that long ago, they had the same kind of problems we have now. So when you're trying to learn to meditate, you'll come up against these 5 problems or distractions. And so you need to know how to deal with them. It's a little hard to describe. So it takes meditating to understand what the problems are. So this may not be clear to you, but as you start to meditate, you'll get to run into these problems and understand them a little more clearly. So the first one's easy. First problem for meditation is just you're lazy. You don't want to. This is probably the worst one. Actually, there's a variation on this for me. I have so many Dharma projects that I often say the Dharma project's more important than my meditation, which is wrong. The whole point of learning to meditate, the entire point, is to develop the meditation tool necessary to see emptiness directly, to have the direct perception of emptiness. So by my putting that off because I have a Dharma project that I think is more important is pretty silly on my part, because most important is seeing emptiness directly. So that's what I struggle with. Now, if you're not going to meditate, at least having a Dharma project is a reason's better than nothing, but not by much. So I just have to get back into the routine of making meditation my priority. So of the 8 solutions, 8 corrections, 4 of the 8 have to do with laziness. So the first one is to have faith. You probably, if you have what they call a monkey mind, where your mind's jumping between subjects, what's for lunch, what am I going to make for dinner, who's coming over, did I get the email I wanted, etc. You need to have faith that you can and you will be able to learn how to meditate. and focus and concentrate. Now, often people say, well, I can't do it. If you watch, when you see a good movie or listen to some wonderful music or reading a novel that captivates you, that's the kind of concentration you're looking for. So you have the ability, you just have it focused on something other than your mind. So we all have the capability. For me, I can start listening to music, my collection of soundtracks. And once I start listening to that, I can go for 15, 20 minutes going in between the different pieces of music that I like. And I think to myself, I'll just do this for 10 minutes before I go to bed. And then I look and it's been an hour. So I can get that lost. I have the ability to focus. It's just on music instead of meditating. So we all have it. So don't develop the faith that you have it and you can make progressions. Okay, B, the second one. So have faith you can do it. B, you want to do it. You understand the benefit of being able to meditate and hold your object for the time necessary to see emptiness directly or direct perception of emptiness. The third one, C, you recognize you have the ability, you want to develop the ability. So now you need to make the effort. So if you want to learn to play the drums, you need to practice. If you want to be a good volleyball player or basketball player, you need to practice. You need to put the effort in. And then D, if you do A, B, and C, if you have faith that you can do it, if you want it badly enough so you can make the effort, then you'll, down the road, you'll develop what's called practiced ease. That's where you just slip into meditation easily. It's doable. It's just a matter of discipline. So that's the first, laziness. And laziness, I think for me to make it, how can I put this? Well, as I said earlier, your meditation practice ideally would be done at the same time each day and make that part of your routine. And so when that time comes, it's you get out of bed, you get dressed for work, you go and take care of your altar, you sit down, and you anticipate, you want to do it. You have to develop the desire to do it. And that's where the faith and the other three come into being. The benefit is to see, well, here's another thing. The benefit, we talk about the benefit being able to have the direct perception of emptiness. That's down the road. But if you develop meditative concentration, you can do other things in your life. You can focus yourself more completely on learning. Well, that's an example for me. Well, software. When I need to use a piece of software that isn't making any sense, is not working properly, by focusing my attention on the problem and focusing on the problem and not worrying about other things, then I can easily solve the problem. But when I let my mind go stray to other subjects, then I don't get anything done. So, for instance, I have a piece of software that takes audio and converts it into text. And it was converting it into text that I couldn't edit. So I tried to focus my mind on why that was not happening properly. And I couldn't figure it out. So I called Microsoft and they showed me what was going on. They didn't explain why the text wasn't editable. They gave me a way to get around and make it editable. So instead of giving up and not working with it, I focused my attention on the task at hand and got the problem solved. So that's what you need to do with your meditation practice. Identify if this laziness is your problem and overcome that by setting a time and a place and a commitment to do it. And the idea is you start with 5 minutes and add a minute each week. Don't say, oh, that's too slow. I can do 15 minutes. It's 5 minutes of high quality meditation is better than 15 minutes of just trying and not getting anywhere. Okay, so next problem in meditation is forgetting the instruction. The object of meditation slips out of your focus. I don't know if it's happened to you, but I've been more than once in school. I would be reading a subject for chemistry, let's say, and you flip several pages and you realize you haven't really been looking at what you're reading. In meditation, you realize that you've started meditating, let's say, on the 4 powers of purification, and then you find yourself thinking what's for breakfast. So you forget the instruction, you forget the object that you're trying to meditate on. The antidote is pretty obvious, remembering. So we need to habituate ourselves to be holding on to our meditation object so we become accustomed to it and we don't lose it. The important thing here is when you have a subject for meditation, don't change it in the middle of the meditation. If you have the 4 powers of purification as your object, don't say, well, I'm not doing very well with that. I'll do 3 principal paths instead. Pick your object, stay with it, and complete the meditation session. The third problem is dullness, mental dullness, and agitation. This is the part that's hard to describe. I'm going to go through the classical description, but until you start to meditate, this will not probably make a lot of sense. Dullness, mental dullness, and mental agitation. Dullness is perhaps the worst enemy of meditators because it can easily be mistaken for progress. So there are three terms we use to clarify this. There's fixation, clarity, and intensity. This refers to not the object in front of you, but your mind. So fixation is holding the object in our minds. So my object of meditation is the 4 powers of purification. So what are the 4 powers? How do they work? That's what I'm trying to hold in my mind. And when you find you're slipping, that's when clarity and intensity become an issue. So fixation is holding the object in your mind. Clarity is how clear is that? How alert, how bright are you? as your mind, when you're thinking about the 4 powers of purification. Then that's clarity. Intensity is how clear, the exclusion of all else. A classical example is that of holding a cup. So if you pick up a cup, if you hold it at all, that's fixation. If you're holding it loosely, that's fixation with clarity. And if you're holding it tightly, that's fixation with clarity and intensity. Clarity is not how clear the picture is, it is how clear and alert your mind is. Now that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you haven't meditated before. So, but that's the best analogy that I can come up with. It's like holding a cup. You pick the cup up. Well, let's look at it another way. You picture the 4 powers of purification. They're regret, refuge, regret, restraint, and remedy. We haven't gone over this yet. We will. So if I'm meditating on the 4 powers of purification, my object, the 4 powers of purification, clarity would be I'm thinking of the various aspects of it. I can recall the 4 powers of purification. And the intensity for me would be, do I really understand what the 4 powers are, or is it vague? So if I have clarity, fixation is the subject, the actual subject, object of my meditation. The clarity would be how well I understand the 4 powers, and the intensity would be the details of the 4 powers. So there's obvious dullness and subtle dullness. Obvious dullness, you still have your object, but you've lost the clarity. So I would be meditating, I'd say the 4 powers of purification. I don't remember my mind straying off to what's going to be for breakfast. It's sort of like a veil has descended. Your mind's awareness is fuzzy, but you don't have your object very clear. Subtle dullness is you have fixation and clarity, but no intensity. So for me, for this example, I'd be meditating on the 4 powers. I know what the 4 powers are, but I wouldn't be able to focus my attention on the details of the 4 parts of the 4 powers of purification. Now, if my meditation's going well and I have clarity and intensity, it's the 4 powers. I remember the 4 powers and I remember the details of the 4 powers. So we said dullness and agitation. So dullness is where you're falling asleep. You're not focused well. Your mind's not focused. Agitation is mental wandering, distraction toward the next thing you're going to do for the day. So agitation is more obvious than dullness. Agitation, you just catch yourself. The whole solution to this is being watchful. Train your mind to check in time to time to see if dullness or agitation is present. Now, often they say get a timer, and there are many different apps on your phone that you can use, and then set the timer to check every 5 minutes. Or if you're just starting at 5 minutes, set a timer that dings and after a minute. and you see whether you've realized you've drifted off to what's for breakfast. So that's the way to check your watchfulness. I find that to be disturbing because my mind is waiting for that beep. It's anticipating when's the next beep going to come. So it makes more sense to me to not use a beep and just see where I am at the end of the 5 minutes. Or in my case, longer. So, for example, our breath meditation, if you lost count, you were monitoring your breathing, but if you lost count, you were counting, you lost count. So I would say by losing the count, you've lost your intensity, your clarity. The fixation was there, you were counting your breath. The clarity, you got distracted, and by that happening, you lost your intensity. So for a breath meditation like that, I would say what we usually do to start a meditation session is you count 2 sets of 10. So count to 10. And if you find yourself distracted, start over, counting again from 10. And if you do this on a routine basis, you'll find that you can get through the 10 breaths without being distracted, the first 10. Then the second 10 is more of a challenge. Then you get past that, and all of a sudden you're doing 2 sets of 10 breaths with focused on counting your breath. And that's a good start for your meditation practice. So that's about all I have for the problems of meditation. Like I say, this is a hard subject to talk about because even if you've meditated a lot, to know when dullness is coming or agitation. Agitation's pretty obvious. It's when you're distracted, your mind's jumping around. Dullness is going to be harder because you think your mind's on the object, but you find out that you've just been sitting there, not thinking, not meditating properly. Dullness is the worst enemy for a meditator because you think you've made progress. So you just have to start your meditation practice to know how these are affecting you. So I'd like to add to the, well, what does the homework meditation have? I neglected to look at that today. Hang on a minute. That's class 8. I'm getting there. Oh, I don't have it. Don't have that. Well, I don't have it on my computer. So I would add, try to do the 5 minutes and counting your breath between now and next class and see if you've made progress. Don't worry about it if you don't make progress. This is you're starting something new. But I'd be curious if you can get your breath down to 8. If 12 is normal, see if you can get it down to 8 comfortably. The important thing is it's comfortable. Okay. I'd like you to try 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes, and after 1 minute, have it beep and see what your count is, and then keep track of that. And we'll discuss that next class. So, are there any questions? This is the beginning. It's really important to focus. I'm not so, well, until we actually get you on a subject with some detail to it, it's going to be hard to take this dullness and agitation and understand how it affects your meditation. So we'll work on that. Okay, let's dedicate this class to having a successful meditation practice. We're going to work on that. And that takes place throughout the course as you have meditation assignments. Don't put off the meditation assignment. If you're doing the homeworks and quiz, you need to record your homework, your meditations, and report that with your homework. Okay, so here's our dedication. By the goodness of what we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So thank you for the chance, the opportunity to teach. The subject is going to get, it's pretty dry now, but hang in there. It'll get more interesting. This is one reason meditation's so frustrating to people, because until you actually start and work at it, it's pretty boring. But once you start to work on your mind and try and get your meditation to work and come across dullness and agitation, then it becomes much more interesting. But don't forget that it's very important that you learn to meditate. Yeah, we aren't finished with the 5 problems. We have 2 more to go. We'll do that next class. So hang in there. It gets more interesting. Okay. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday, right? Thursday. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much.